first clients I saw was this guy named George. Every Friday for 3 years, George had me come over and tie him up. I will never forget the first time. I drove my giant school bus into this posh neighborhood. I parked not quite in front. I didn't want him to see my giant bus. I thought I could hide a 40-foot school bus in a rich white neighborhood. The instructions were for me to come around the side, knock on the kitchen door. All the lights were out. It was a little creepy. But I knocked, and he peeked his head out. Oh, wow. He was this gorgeous man. He had all these muscles, and he was cut and brown and so pretty. Oh, yeah. This is way better than those fat, hairy guys in the strip clubs all day. I came into his house, and we had to be real quiet. All the lights were off. We're tiptoeing through his kitchen, going down into his basement, and I'm thinking, should I be doing this? All of my emergency alarms start going off, like, you know, this is what happens in the movies right before the beautiful young girl gets killed. Don't do it! Don't go in the basement! But I go down there anyway, thinking, this is my job. I'm going down there. I get down there, he's got all these lengths of rope. White rope with red twine. I took off all his clothes and drooled some more at his gorgeous body. And I tied him up. He squirmed right out. So I tied him up again. He squirmed out again. I tied him up a third time, and he promptly escaped, looked at me and said, "Is that the best you can do?" I was furious. I thought, I'm gonna get you. I tied him up as tight as I could. He struggled and struggled and struggled. I don't know if he's humoring me or mocking me. He said he wanted me to leave him there, all tied up and helpless. I thought, well, what if your mom comes downstairs and discovers you all tied up like this? Oh, my mom? I don't live with my mom. My girlfriend, she's the one who owns the house. She'll be home in a couple hours. If I'm not out by then, she'll come downstairs and let me out. She thinks it's fun and kinky. All right, well, it sounds like less work for me. See ya. After a good long time, George called me and said, "I've moved. Here's my new address. I live in an apartment in a questionable neighborhood." So I drove my bus, which she still didn't know about, and parked it pretty far away, 'cause it's hard to find that kind of parking space in questionable neighborhoods. I walked to where George was. He didn't have a side door anymore, so I just came through the front. He told me his girlfriend kicked him out, and he had to live in this dumpy little apartment. I tied him up and left. That Thanksgiving, I was gonna be out of town visiting family, and George wanted to make sure that we got together, so I came over on Wednesday. I was really stressed out. Holidays and the families and I had been practicing my knots, and I was getting pretty good at it. I tied him up real tight. I kicked him around, said, yeah, you call me when you get out of this bondage. I'm gonna go home and pack and head to my destination. I want to hear from you as soon as you're out of this bondage. I got all the way to Albuquerque, and I still hadn't heard from George. So I called him. I was a little bit concerned. He didn't answer. He just rang and rang and rang. Finally, I fell off the hook with a lot of thumping. "Hello? George? Are you okay? Are you out of that bondage?" "Almost out." "Wow! I have clearly gotten a lot better at this." "Oh, but wait. I'm not even kind of close to where I needed to be if I need to go and help George." "Well, good luck with that. Call me when you get out, huh?" Then I went and had Thanksgiving dinner. The whole time I sat there with my family, I was waiting to hear from George. I sat there making small talk, thinking, I've got a guy in bondage 8 hours away who's not out yet. Pass the yams, please. Oh, I love yams. After dinner, I called him, and the same thing happened. It rang and rang and rang. Finally, it thump, thump. I'm almost out. Almost 24 hours passed before George finally got out of that bondage. And then it dawned on me. The whole time I'm tying him up and leaving him, it never occurred to me that it might not be so safe. Like, what if he had a heart attack? What if the house burned down? Jesus, any number of horrible things could have happened. But it seemed like his kink. You know, who was I to judge and say it was bad? He knew exactly what he wanted, and I was just there to provide a service. Tie him up and leave him. Just the same. After that Thanksgiving encounter, George called me back a few more times, but then I never saw him again.